Hey everybody, welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. We're jumping right into it today. We are renting Dirt Perfect's triaxle. We got to move some equipment real quick. I've got a small clearing job at the top of a cliff. Yeah, that sounds fun. I'm sure everything will be fine. We're gonna check things over real quick. We got the coolant stick. Can't see through the sight glass, so that's okay. I'm betting she's a little low. Yep, that's gonna be a little low. All right. It's got some of that. Doesn't have any of that either. That's okay. We're making that. I think he's trying to set me up. I think this is a good old-fashioned setup. I'll be dipped. Yep, praise the Lord. Okay. I need to get some fuel over here. Look, he's got me pointed at the post. He set me up. I need to get some fuel over here, but oh, he's moving. What a strange place to park that was. What are you doing? You're in my way. I'm not in your way. You're in my way, buddy. Get him relatched while we're loading, but I don't know if you can see. A bunch of gravel stuck in there, so. We get filled up, we'll back out, raise the bed, clean that apron off, and get him set up. That way he doesn't have any surprises next time he uses it. Waiting for a little bump. Let's see what we got. The trailer's too low. Well, now that wasn't in the bingo card. Because that hitch is curved, if we hit it too hard, it pushes it off left or right. We gotta get pretty centered and just wait for a soft touch. Oh, much better. Much better. Do a little tug test here. Trailer brakes work. We're not on a semi. The tug test, it's more like to make sure trailer brakes work and your fifth wheel is connected. On this, I'm just double checking that the trailer brakes are working properly. Now the only downfall to this pickup spot, which is not uncommon for where we're at just because of the way the roads are, but we're gonna have to back down at least 57 miles of country road to get to it. There's not a great spot to turn around at the end. There could be no traffic on this road all day, but I promise you on this dead end road, when we gotta back her down, there's gonna be a car. I'm gonna back past where I need to go and then try to pull up over as far as I can here. do a lot of dilly-dallying in this section. So I'm just gonna leave you here. I'm gonna go get the machine. I'll be right back. So we're gonna get out of this blind section and where it's wide enough up around the corner. And then I'll throw some chains on it there. We're pretty front heavy on the trailer. You'll see though, the hill we're gonna go up, it's not a long hill, but it is pretty steep. And with an empty box and a trailer behind there, you can spin out on that gravel, especially when it's dry. We made it out of the first road with no traffic. Let's see if we make it out of this road with no traffic. Got the truck up at the shop. Thermostat's messed up again. I don't know what's going on with that. We're gonna get this popped off. See if we can't take that bend out a little bit. Not 100% sure what happened there. Yeah, I mean, no one will really ever know probably, I don't. Using a very fancy technique here. I don't think we'll get it perfect, but hopefully we can get it better. I got some cribbing just stacked up on each side. We'll see what happens here. The cribbing is on top of the feet of the press, so. It's not perfect, but it is certainly better than what it was. So we're jumping right into it this morning. He's already out on his tractor. He's doing a lot of the dirt work and stuff himself. There's just a few things he can't get because of the grade and the steepness and the fact that we're gonna be operating on top of a cliff. He can't get with his tractor, which he's got a nice, I don't know what model that is. He's got a nice Bobcat tractor over there. He's moving a lot of the dirt with. He's got stump grinder and box blade. He's got a lot of nice attachments for it too. But anyway, he's putting in a new drive back to a little storage building. I shouldn't say little, it's a pretty good sized storage building he's got on the back side. And we're doing a little tree clearing for him. In the future, we'll be putting a culvert in for him and some drainage, some other things. But today, we're just getting some trees out of the way because he needs a place to put his dirt. Normally, I would use the 12-inch bucket to clear a lot of these trees. I like that better. It doesn't flop around as much in my clapped out coupler. But the 12-inch bucket's actually at the machine shop because they're using it as a pattern for the tabs I need for my custom compactor attachment I'm building. So I don't have the 12-inch bucket right now. So we're gonna make do with the 24, and you're just gonna have to listen to her clap around today. A couple small stumps I gotta pop out for him, and then we'll move back to the tree clearing. We can sit here and chase roots all day. There's a lot he can get with his tractor, so we're just kind of trying to get the stuff that he can't get with his tractor. It's a real good time. People say, how can you operate with that bucket clanking around all day? That would drive me crazy. It drives me crazy. So here's what we're looking at. Whenever he goes and he starts cutting his driveway out, he needs a place to lose all the dirt. Lucky for us, there's a massive hole in the woods here. About 25 feet through there, there's a good 25-foot cliff, so we're gonna wanna avoid that. Two things, he needs a place to put the dirt, and he wants to kind of bring this out in a straight line to make mowing and maintenance down through here a little bit easier. Need to try to stack stuff in a way that he can grab it easily with his grapple. That's just a big weed. Kind of be light through here because of the roots for this hickory tree, but that's the goal right there. Just through there to where that little fella is there. We're gonna try to sneak around that bottom side, I think. If someone said what's your least favorite thing about this 304, it's the track controls. They are pretty much an all or nothing thing. There's not a lot of feather in them. But beats a shovel. Easy. So we're running in these rocks. See this rock right here? And then we turn. It doesn't take a lot of pressure to throw that track. And when I get that back end on some of these rocks, I gotta really pay attention and watch that. And I heard it pop, but we're still on the top, so we should be able to track backwards, and she should pop back on for us. There we go. Run it back and forth a little bit, make sure there's no debris in there that's gonna pop us again, and then we'll try to crawl forward some more. Clear the rock. We can keep on moving. Okay. Things we got to pay attention to that'll really ruin our day. And then we just keep repeating that process just a little bit. Because he can't get his tractor down here with the grapple, what we'll do is we'll have to make a couple passes, get some big old bites, and then just try to pack that stuff to the top of the hill where he can get it, and then we'll come back through and scratch a little dirt work, see how that goes. Still have several obstacles in front of us though. It's a pretty tricky little job. It's not a huge job, but there's definitely a lot of little things that could really ruin the whole operation. Like me, the machine, you know, the operation. They're shaping up pretty nice through there. We're being just kind of gentle with the cleaning through here. These hickories are pretty tolerant for root disturbance, at least in our area, or my experience with it anyway. But I still don't want to get too crazy. Crazy deep scratching. Scratching's not a word. Scratching, that's what I'm trying to say. Scratching is the word. Anyway, we got this little dead tree, looks like an old ash tree. We're just gonna shove it that way. Yeah, that should work all right. Okay. You gotta really keep an eye on that top, because if we push it too hard or too rough, that top will snap back on me, fall on the machine. So try to go somewhat gentle with her. There we go. Easy peasy. Then we'll crawl back up the hill. You just can't do a quick 4-hour job anymore. It's just not a thing. Lost a hydraulic line on the 304. Luckily, it is in the only non-shady spot of where we're working, and that's perfect. You know, better visibility. That's what I'm worried about, is the visibility, not the heat index today. Anyway, the other great thing could be one of these up here. You know, wouldn't that be? That'd be great. But it's this one. The route's up through there. You know, there's 27,000 bolts for one line. And I think it's that one because it's coming out of that wrap. So I want to find the other end of it first and see if we can't look at it a little bit closer. I don't know where the other end goes. We're on an adventure. I'm glad this happened though, because this gives me a chance to address something, and it just proves the point. And I'm not super glad, but I'm kind of glad it happened. So constantly people are just ragging on me about the clapped out quick coupler. Will that open with the shovel on there? It should. Who designed that, huh? Clever fella. My clapped out quick coupler that's just flopping around, leaves all my buckets sloppy looking. Hydraulic level, slide glass is empty, so that's good. In fact, I got no teeth on the old Tennessee bucket. And this is fantastic because this job, my plan was to buy new teeth for that bucket, some nice teeth, and buy some rods that I need to get that quick coupler fixed. This job was supposed to pay for that. This is the prime example. This is what it's like. What we've got today is forced maintenance. We've got a line that obviously needs replaced. Oh, neat. And that line is probably gonna cost the same amount as those rods and the teeth. Now this is it, this is the reality of it. Here's your answer why we haven't fixed that yet. Because every time it seems like we're gonna get ahead enough to buy something like that, we've got the good old-fashioned forced maintenance. There you go, there's your answer. There's your dose of reality that you're not gonna see on all the brand new shiny equipment machines. Gotta get this plate off. This holds everything back. That's gotta come off. It's just whatever's in this tube here. It shouldn't take long to drain itself out. It's an O-ring boss fitting. Now, I don't know if our local mom and pop shop has O-ring boss fittings. We may be down today and have to get this to an actual hydraulic shop. So an awesome subscriber by the name of Ron sent me this fantastic hydraulic hose cap set. That's perfect timing. It's also a fella that you know watches the channel a lot, because he knows this guy blows a lot of hydraulic hoses. He does. It's got JIC. It's also supposed to have O-ring boss in here. So there they are. It's either going to be a 10 or a 12, I don't know. We're just trying to mitigate the amount of oil. It's going to be a 10. The amount of oil we get all over the place. The real issue here is I don't even know if this is the actual hose that's blown. We're just guessing based on the oil that's coming out of the hose protection. Now the other hose protections, these here, well, it's this, but down lower, there's oil coming out of it. So that's just my guess. There you got it. Okay. I hope it's 27 feet long and a real pain in the butt to get out. Oh God, no, hold me closer. Tony Danza, okay, thank you. So we just gotta get it pulled through here somehow. Oh boy. It's not the time, buddy. Get. It's the friendliest attack. I think it's this one. I ended up taking these lines off here, just disconnecting them. I got them capped. I should have bought these myself a long time ago. Look at that. It's professional looking. There's nothing leaking. We're not getting dirt in the system. That's fantastic. Anyway, I can now reach down in here And I can feel that hose. My fingers are on it. There's two of them about the same diameter. One of them, the protective wrap like this, is absolutely saturated. That's my educated guess. My thought process is maybe I can get a hook on that hose and kind of get it pulled up through there and then back around it. The problem is it goes around that motor, so it's pinch point. So if I try to pull from that side, it just gets hung up on that plus all the other hoses. And I thought about pulling it back out this way because it'd definitely be a shorter pull, but I'm just not convinced that a 90 is going to navigate its way through there without getting snagged on something. So I pulled the bottom glass out here. I don't know if you can tell. Makes it a little bit easier, just slides out. So now let's look at this hose. That hose definitely needs replaced though. Even if this isn't the one, man, she's been rubbing bad. Let's give a few more like this. I know we're gaining hose this way, but I don't know if we're just stretching it or we're pulling it. So I just blew some air down these to figure out. Turns out this is the correct one. I was pulling on the wrong one, but we're gonna pull both of them because I don't know if that's gonna show up on camera. Right here. See if I can get it to rotate up towards you. No, I'll show you when we get it pulled out. Anyway, we're just gonna pull both of them. It's costing me a fair amount of money to do this. So if we're set up to do it, let's just do it. So we'll just keep pulling this way. It's pulling pretty easy like this. It's honestly a heck of a lot easier than just yanking on it with my back and tearing that up. You know what I mean? A little time consuming, but definitely not a tremendous amount of effort. We'll just keep doing this, reset as we need to, and get both of them pulled out. So one of these longer ones, bigger ones that we pulled out, ended up being fine. And I'm okay with that. I'm glad we pulled it out and we were able to inspect it. It's gonna make getting everything back in a little bit easier too. So one of these is good and we're not gonna replace it because well, they're pretty pricey and this is a cat hose. So I've got good faith in that. The other long one we pulled out. The other long one we pulled out, we are gonna replace. There's a little there, but that doesn't give me a lot of concern. What gives me concern is, where'd it go? Right here. It's been rubbing right there. We're through 2 layers of braiding and starting to get into the actual inner liner of the hose. So we got this out. That's gonna cause us some pretty big headaches in the future. It doesn't look like it's far away from it. So we are gonna go ahead and replace that one. That one's getting yeeted. This one is the one that ended up being our culprit. See if you can spot the problem. What's crazy though, all along this hose, there's spots where the outer sheathing's separated. So there's other places that are probably getting ready to fail a little bit as well. It's also a cat hose. It's pretty rough. There's some rust in there too. So I don't know if it's just where it was sitting in there that is getting a little extra corrosion or vibration or what, but I definitely got to replace that one. We also, when we pulled those through, we pulled straps through with them. So we can use these to help pull those hoses back through. We'll see how that goes. So it is a few days later, the hydraulic shop I go to, they're down on workers right now, unfortunately. So it takes a little bit longer, but that's okay. I've got to replace my hoses. They sent my caps back with me, which is nice. And I got new O-rings. These are O-ring style Boss. Yeah, O-ring style Boss fittings. So new O-rings anytime we do those. And then I went with this style of protective wrap. I think it does a better job, one. I also think it's gonna pull through that space a lot better than what that canvas wrap does. But the bigger of the two, this one's 350 bucks. Total bill, $668. We're gonna get all this pulled and button back up. We're gonna time lapse it. Yep, $668 for 2 hoses and new protective wrap. A good set of teeth for the bucket I wanna do is about 150 bucks, plus some AR steel to replace the wear pads and beef up the side cutting edges and add some side cutting edges and the rods and material To do the coupler, it's probably only $350 to do all that. But when we spend $668 on hoses for a job that's only billable for 4 hours, well, then we just have to push that off. Now, it's okay in the grand scheme of things. The good news is the next job, regardless of how many billable hours it is, these hoses shouldn't need replaced. So maybe we can get the money off of that. But that's just what it is. We have to focus our priorities on what actually keeps the machine running and keeps me making money. And hydraulic oil in the hoses, well, it's fairly crucial. I'm gonna give you a warning here. If you want to skip ahead a minute or so, I'm getting ready to get on my soapbox. And one of the things I absolutely cannot stand about YouTube, I think YouTube has become so saturated with heavily partnered or heavily sponsored channels that a lot of the excavation channels out there or the own your own company or entrepreneur channels out there have absolutely skewed the reality of what this stuff is. Now, there are tens of thousands of smaller excavation channels where guys are out here doing it exactly like that. They're busting their butt. They're making do with what they have. They're starting from scratch and building themselves up because that's what it takes. But because they are smaller channels, they don't quite have the same amount of reach as those larger channels. So their ability to educate people on what it actually takes isn't quite there. You have more exposure to channels running brand new, shiny equipment. Now, I got to preface this, I'm not talking about Dirt Perfect, although he does partner and have brand new shiny equipment. The man is very honest about those partnerships and how everything works, and he runs a tremendous amount of old iron as well. He obviously builds his stuff up and does what he has to do. There is still a tremendous amount of reality there, and he's very open about those partnerships. I'm talking about channels even larger than that. And I think because that reality has been skewed, whenever videos like this come out that might get a little bit of traction on the YouTube algorithm or might get a little bit of reach, you're gonna get people that say, well, you need to do this or you need to do that. And it's simply because they don't know any better, because everything they've been exposed to on YouTube says that this equipment should run flawlessly and work great with little to no maintenance, because that's what you do when you start out, right? You just go get a brand new low hours shiny machine. But this is reality. And I wish YouTube would go back to its roots and we would get more content like this where it would be reality. I'm not out here making content. I'm not out here doing things because I think it would make a good video. I'm just out here sharing my life. And sometimes it's entertaining, sometimes it's not, but that's what it is. That's how YouTube started. Just a way for people to share what they're doing because they thought it was fun, they thought it was cool, and they thought it might make a few people smile. Anyway, just know if you're in the same boat as I am and you're struggling and you're working on things every day, and every time you think you're gonna get ahead, something goes wrong, we're in this together, man. This is all a big group effort. We're gonna get there. We just gotta keep chugging along a little bit at a time. Okay, end rant, back to the work. This, all the hoses and everything are hooked back up, even the ones under the floorboard. I'm happy with the way everything's routed. I took a lot of care to make sure there's nothing tight on that swing motor. I don't know that it would matter over time, but I imagine that swing motor probably gets a little heat on it, and over time that might break down those hoses faster. Don't know, couldn't tell you. Just something that I was thinking about whenever I was putting it all back together. I still got all the panels, but I want to fire it up and run some functions and make sure nothing comes surprises, you know, no surprises. Looks like it. And I added some fluid. We're gonna lose some as we fill these hoses. We'll have to put some more in it. Pulled that fluid down pretty fast, but I got a couple more gallons left. We'll top it off here in a second. We still got enough to run it. Everything here looks good and dry. Of course, I can see that from the cab. My connections underneath. I need to wipe those down. I can't tell if that's residual or something's dripping on there. The connections underneath was just some stuff I unhooked to get a little bit more access. Sleeves for tools, hoodie for my face. You know what I mean? It's a multi-purpose towel. This is why you never clean your truck out. Cycling back and forth, so I kind of just deadheaded a little bit. That's when we're putting pressure on it. Thing looks fine there. Yeah, I think we're all right. By the way, I misspoke earlier when I opened that up. It just hangs out in there. So you just swing it out of the way. Easy peasy. So that did give me access. These bolts through the pan on top is what secures that. So might be a little awkward getting it back together, but it does move. It moves. You see that? Okay. All right. Cool. 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 How you doing? One piece still. That's nice. I like that. Everything looks good and dry over here. I love it. Let me throw a little bit more fluid in. Get all the bracketry all bolted up, and we'll get back to work. The kind of work that pays, not the money losing kind. One quick walk around, make sure we didn't leave any tools anywhere. Well, the hood's open. We can't have that. Where are you guys at? Over there? All right, good, great. Boom, that's what I'm expecting. Okay, I'm gonna shut this because we're gonna run a little AC. We'll leave the front open because it's cracked, I can't see out of it. Absolute smidgen of blade work here. Here's how she turned out. Not too bad. Cleaned up around the trees a little bit. That little stump's gonna stay. He's got a stump grinder. And that stump's kind of in the middle where that runoff is. So I hate to dig that out. End up with a spot that's gonna be weak and soft and wash out fast. So we can leave the roots in to keep the integrity, and he can just buzz that down with his grinder pretty easy. Be nice to have a little bit more dirt in there. I don't know how much he plans on digging out of his driveway yet, but cleaned up pretty decent. Not bad. We are still good and dry on all our connections there, so that's good. Those seals should all be decent. Check out that view too, huh? I'm not saying anything negative about those channels that have all the partnerships and the big shiny equipment and the kind of fake drama from time to time. They're good at what they do. They are enjoyable, entertaining channels. So I'm not taking anything away from them, but that doesn't change my opinion that I do feel like the reality of some of this stuff has definitely been lost over the years. Anyway, number 3, is this the third job? Little side gig of the excavation thing. Turned out fantastic. A little bit of money out of the pocket on this one, but on the next job, that means it won't break down. At least not those hoses, hopefully. So anyway, it's 1 o'clock. I'm gonna pull the heads off the 2500 because there's a lifter stuck, so that's neat. You'll get to see it. If it's your first Captain Cleaning video, welcome to the reality. If you've been with us for a while, I hope you enjoy us keeping it real. And Ron, thank you for the hydraulic caps. Those are gonna come in handy. And thank you guys for watching.